Hi YouTube, ACDodd here. Welcome to another episode of On the Road Tuning with me, ACDodd. And this time I've got a bumper episode for you, so sit back and enjoy. So here we are, Southampton, and yet another Mini. So I'll just set my tools up, and this is a City E. Obviously a few modifications. So all nice standard interior, except door cards and seats. But dash, etc., as it came from the factory. And under the bonnet, it's the usual powerhouse 998 A Plus with a stage 1 kit. So let's go and speak to the owner and see why he's called us out. Okay, so this is John. John owns this nice City E Mini. Yep. So why have you called me out today, John?
Oh, it's running like a bag of... yeah, it's not running right. No power. It's just not performing at all. Okay,
so generally no power. What's the drivability like? Part throttle, is it that all terrible as well?
Yeah, so I can just about get it going part throttle. If I go full throttle, it just bogs out, doesn't want to know.
Okay.
And that's why I've called you in.
Okay. So I can see you're at your wit's end.
Yeah, I've been messing around with it myself, but yeah, I can't get it to no avail.
Fair enough. Well, let's dig in and see what we can do.
Cool.
Okay, so first thing I've noticed on this car is I disconnected the coil so that I can actually do a resistance test, and sure enough it's a 1.5 ohm coil, which is fine, but interestingly somebody's wired this with the wrong polarity. So if you see, that's a negative connection which was on there, which as you can see on the coil is clearly marked positive. So yeah, we need to reverse that. The coil's fine, but we're also going to look at the ignition system in general, which in this case is a Ducelia. So I've already determined that the Ducelia's got a busted vacuum unit, and the owner has provided me, which he's already bought, so we're going to change that straight away. So first job really is to change the polarity on the coil, obviously, change the connection so we can actually collect the new distributor, and have a look at the HT leads. That was the coil lead, so being as that's an old design, I'm very suspect of that. We'll look at the rest of them and see what they measure up as. Okay, 33k. That is not a good lead, so we'll change those. So here's an interesting thing. The distributor on the left is what the customer supplied me to fit in his engine. On further inspection, he's decided to go for my PowerSpark high energy unit for a number of reasons. Firstly, the PowerSpark one has got a much bigger module in it, and this is the high power one. Secondly, you'll see that the actual reluctor on that is a steel reluctor which is pinned to the shaft, which is one of the reasons why I sell these distributors, whereas this unit has got a plastic reluctor on it, and unfortunately I can't show it now, but I'll try and get a better shot and I can show you why I don't like them. So the reason why I don't like them is, look at that, look at the play on that shaft. Now that is absolutely horrendous, and that's made out of plastic. So these things, in my view, have got no place in a performance engine. Yeah, this is a standard road engine, but if you want to try and make it go, that is not going to help, okay? So having a pinned metal version is much better than a plastic one. Okay, so as you can see, I've removed the ignition system. So the reason for that is because actually all of it was kind of a little bit suspect, so the owners decided to go for a PowerSpark high energy distributor, and also a high energy coil. So we're going to upgrade that, and we're also going to fit, rather than his leads he supplied, we're going to fit a set of my PowerSparks in there, and also change the spark plugs as well. So let's get stuck in, get that fitted, and then see how the engine runs. Okay, so engine's back running. So just to recap, we've got high power 0.8 ohm coil, we've got PowerSpark recurve Dizzy by me, Obviously comes with all new vacuum unit to solve the original problem. Changed the spark plugs for a set of BP5s. Got some power spark leads on there. So basically out with the old, in with the new ignition system, and the engine runs so much better. Even the owners remarked at how smooth it's running. So now we change our attention to the carburetor. Initial running shows that we are lean from 2,000 revs right the way up to 5,000 revs. So that needle is completely wrong for the application. So what we're going to do now is change that, dial that in, get some fuel in it, and hopefully she's going to run a lot better. Okay, so here's the needle out of that car, and there's yet another example of the fuel we've got now is really starting to affect the needle. So that's an AAV needle, which just so happens to be way too lean, but the fuel that's in this car and the way it's been used and laid up is actually starting to oxidize everything. So I've advised the owner to start using fuel stabilizer to solve that issue. So got this one all dialed in, engine's running nicely now, got a beautiful fueling curve. I was very lucky actually. I just took the AAV needle out, which was so lean it was painful, and swapped it for an AAF needle, and it's lovely. So what we're going to do now is send John out in it and see what he thinks. Right, so John's been out in his car. Look at the smile. Excellent. Right, so what's it like now on the test drive?
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. So much more responsive, more progressive power, more power in general. It's transformed the car. It's gone from undrivable to, oh yeah, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Excellent. Okay, so yeah, more power. Is it good on part throttle as well, so
yeah,
cruising?
Yeah, so before I had to drive at part throttle, otherwise it would just bog down and die. Now part throttle's lovely, you can cruise with it, and yeah, as soon as you go full throttle you've got the power there and it picks up really well.
Excellent. Okay, so would you recommend this service to anyone else?
Oh, 100%. Get into your Mini.
Okay. All right. It was an interesting one, your car, because obviously we did have to change a lot. In the end, I ended up changing the whole ignition system, but you can now see why.
Yeah. I set myself up for it. I knew it was going to need some parts today, but it's totally worth doing.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for getting me down and giving me a chance to make another Mini run really well.
Thank you.
So here we are in Romsey, and I've got a cracker. Look at this. Nice standard Mini 850. Beautiful car. Lovely Survivor. Beautiful, basic, standard, lovely car. Just 64,000 miles. Let's have a look under the bonnet. And under here, we have the original 850 engine. And this one has even got old Unipart part leads and everything else on it. So HS4 carb, so it's got a brand new carb, it's one of mine. So we already identified that before I got here. So the owner's fitted that. And my job is to dial it all in. So let's dig in and see what we find. So going through this engine, I've done when we first run it up when it was cold, it was tapping. So I've done the rockers, done the valve clearances, and the engine's a lot smoother. I've checked the coil, that's a 3 ohm coil. Now we're going through these very old leads. And as you can see, if we take one look at that, 37k is impressive for just one lead. So we're going to change these because these are way out of date. So we've got the engine going now, new set of leads. What else have we done? Gap the spark plugs. I've actually changed the connector on the coil as well because the other one was so corroded. And obviously, as I already mentioned, we've done the valve clearances, so she's running really well. But now we're going to move on to setting the timing. So first up, let's have a look at the dwell meter, and we can see we've got just over 50. On this 25D we should have 60, so the points gap's a bit big, so let's adjust that down and increase the coil energy. So got the engine up and running, timing's all set. I went for 14 degrees before dead centre, giving me 34 all in, so yeah, I think that's probably somewhere near right. In terms of the carburetor, yeah, sure enough, we're lean everywhere in the rev range, so we're lean at 2, 3, 4 and 5,000 revs. So let's get onto the needle, give that some adjustment and go from there. So this one's all done. So just to recap, new leads, adjusted the timing, put a new clip on the coil, set the dwell angle. I also showed the lady owner how to set the timing without a strobe light, so she's got that figure as well. I've obviously set the timing as I've already mentioned, and then onto the carburetor we got 1040 oil in the dash pot and an ABX needle that's been modified. And this one runs lovely. And you can see with the new carburetor this one runs beautifully. So yeah, very happy with that. So here we are, Chingford, and we've got a lovely Auto Mark II. Beautiful. So let's have a quick look inside. Look at that. Nicely restored. Awesome. Under the bonnet we have a 998. This one's got a weather shield on it, clearly an auto. So let's go and speak to the owner and see why he's called us down. Okay, so this is John. All right, John.
Hi.
So this lovely Mark II auto, why have you brought it along today?
Yeah, I've had this about, well, maybe about 18 months now, Adrian, and it started to be a bit lumpy on the drive, so generally working fantastic, but you know, when it's cold it's lumpy, and I was hoping that maybe you could you know, give it a few tweaks. And
okay, is it lacking in power at all, or?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
All right, well let's dig in and see what we can find. Okay, so we got here with this one, which is really good. New set of spark plugs, gapped at 25 thou. Whoever set the fueling up, unfortunately, had wound the mixture nut right down in an attempt to get it going. It had a needle that was far too lean. Also, the air filter was blocked, and it was causing a problem when I was revving it. It was showing up on the wideband. So at the moment there's no air filter in it, so I've instructed the owner to put a K&N element inside the airbox. I've tuned it for that, so it will run fine. We've got a nice air fuel ratio. The other thing we had was, although the dwell angle was fine, unfortunately we had 26 degrees of static advance on the engine, so that was causing us to lose a lot of performance. So I've wound that back to 9 degrees. So that's like removing 17 degrees of advance, and the engine now, as you can hear, purrs and revs up beautifully. So we're now going to send the owner out in it and see what he thinks. All right, John, so you've been out for a ride in it now. What's it like?
Oh, fantastic, Adrian. It was really smooth. It just wanted to go. It's fantastic. Thanks very much. You've done an amazing job on that.
All right, so we said at the beginning, I think I asked you about the power, and you said it was okay?
Well, I thought it was okay because, you know, I've been driving it now for about a year. It was, you know, lumpy, but, you know, I expected that of a car of this age. But now I've seen how it's meant to go. It's like chalk and cheese.
Okay, all right. So I appreciate you bringing the car down. And would you recommend this to anyone else?
Oh my God, absolutely, yeah, 100%.
All right. Well, thank you very much, John.
No, thank you, Adrian. It's fantastic.
So, second car, this one, Mini HL. Lovely example again. I remember these back in the day. So, almost stock interior, lovely brown carpet, original seats, lovely. And this one, it's got a nice walnut dash and a wooden picket steering wheel. So, again, let's have a look under the bonnet. So this one has the mighty powerhouse of a standard A+ 998 engine. And it's running rather well. So let's go and speak to the owner and see why he's brought it down. Okay, this is Alan, and he's the owner of this beautiful that vermilion orange, I think that is, or vermilion red.
That's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Mini HL. So why have you brought it down today?
Well, I haven't had the car that long, and seems to run reasonably well, that sort of thing, but a bit sort of lacking in the top end. So I just thought I'd get the main man to give it a once over, so I sort of know where to start from, possibly with modding.
Okay, all right. So listening to it now seems to run quite well. So I think you've done a good job so far. But let's dig in and see if we can extract some more performance.
Thank you.
So delving into this one. Someone's fitted a 65D Dizzy, which is a good thing. I haven't checked the advance curve on it yet, but we do have the wrong coil. So that's running a 4 ohm coil, or this one's measuring 4 ohms. So we're way down on coil power. So we'll get that changed to a 0.8 ohm. Spark plugs, pretty good actually. The owner doesn't, because he's only had this car, less than a year, and these plugs were in it when he got it. As you can see, we're running lean. Which is good, so we're going to put a new set of plugs in. They're 6s, I want to go down to a set of 5s, and it fits in with what the owner was saying, is it struggles at higher revs and perhaps higher power. So I think this is all standard, it's just running out of fuel at the top end. So we'll get that changed, and then set of plugs. Oh, and the leads, when I measured those, as you can see, they're not that old. They're marked up, well this one isn't, but they're marked up as a genuine set of Lucas ones, but they've taken on a set, and these are 8k or 8.5k each. So we're going to put some new ones on at about 1.5 to 2k, and then take it from there. So Alan's Mini, the little red vermilion one, we got it all running. So we have a 0.8 ohm coil now to go with the original 65D. New leads on there now, so we've got brand new Power Spark set of leads. I put a new set of BP5 spark plugs and gapped them at 35 thou. Vacuum units all working. I've optimised the timing. The problem with this engine was it was running 27 degrees of static advance, so I pulled that back to 8 degrees, gives us a favourable advance curve on this one. And then moving over to the carburetor, we were actually pretty spot on at idle, but our problem was we had an ADE needle which was way too lean. So I put an AAF needle in there, and then that was too lean at 4,000 to 5,000 RPM. So I've modified that slightly, and now we've got an engine that sounds excellent. So let's send Alan out in it and see what he thinks of that. Right. So this is Alan, and Alan's been out for a ride in his beautiful vermilion red Mini. Now we've done the tune. So what do you think now, Alan?
It's fabulous, a really nice job, thank you. Yeah, so much more, just tractability, I suppose is a technical word, but yeah, it just goes when you want it to go, it goes. It's brilliant. Lovely,
excellent.
Lovely
so
to drive.
Smooth?
Yes, much more than it was before. Definitely.
No flat spots?
No, not at all.
And more power?
Yeah. Just really eager now, so it's great. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. And would you recommend this service to anyone else?
Definitely. Yeah. I'll be getting my other car done with you as well. Like.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right. Well, I appreciate you letting me have a play with your car today to make sure that runs well. So
anytime.
That's all right. No problem at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. Thanks.
Okay. So next car we have a genuine innocenti. Beautiful. And this is a lovely example. So let's have a quick look inside for those who are not used to looking inside an innocenti. Totally different inside. Different pedals, different dash. Beautiful car. Let's have a look under the bonnet. So under the bonnet we've got a fully rebuilt engine, 1293 SW5 cam, and almost all original. Looking every bit the part with twin carbs. But my job is to get this dialed in. So let's go and speak to the owner. Okay, so this is Kevin. Kevin's the owner of this beautiful innocenti. So why have you called us down today, Kevin?
Well, while the car's running quite nice, I feel that there is always a little bit more to be given to it. And when it comes to tuning and the carburetors, I can do most things, but to get the finer points done, then yeah, it's Adrian to have a look at it for me.
Okay, all right. So any particular driving issues?
Yeah, it's running a little bit lean between sort of part throttle between about 1,700 and 3,000, and it's very rich full throttle above about 4,000. So yeah, we'd like to get that sorted out.
Okay, so Kevin is an unusual owner in the fact that he's actually got a wideband fitted in the car, so he can actually tell me exactly what's going on. So one of the reasons I can tune the twin carbs on the road is I actually have a load in the fact that we can actually drive the car and take the readings as we're going along. So that's one thing we'll be doing this afternoon while we get this dialed in. So let's stop talking about it and let's get stuck in.
Thank you.
So where are we at to with this one? So we've got the engine's currently running. What we have got is we've got a CSI Dizzy. So I've been through and checked everything about the ignition system. We got 3 ohm coil. We got 1.5 K resistance on the HT leads. The gaps on the spark plugs weren't bad, just a touch wide, so I've just knocked them down to 25. And then what I did notice is we weren't getting the full advance. So we've gone up to curve 15 on this one to get our 30 degrees where we need it, and then turning our attention to the airbox. The owner already knows the original airboxes on these are useless for airflow, so he's already modified the cover, but what I've done is suggested he flip the cover, so that's actually improved the gap that we've got there to get more air in, and he's also got a hole in the top. So we should get enough air in now. So one of the things we need to do is I'm going to check the fuel in at part throttle, and then what we're going to do is to see what the fueling is when it's driving. Okay, so got this one all dialed in. Spent quite a lot of time with it in the end, a good 3 hours fiddling with this one. But just to go over what we did, all the leads and the plugs were absolutely spot on. Actually, basically what we had to do with this one is I adjusted to curve 15 on the engine because on the CSI, because we weren't making the full power timing, so that rectified that. That also gave us a little bit more timing at 2000 revs, which has picked up the torque a little bit. Coil's all good, so this engine's in fine fettle, so the owner's done a really good job of getting this one ready for me. The only other thing we did was obviously spend a lot of time on the carburetor, so we flipped the lid on the airbox just to get a little bit more air in there. It's already got a hole in the top to make the best use of the airflow. The needles in it were AAQ, which proved to be the leanest ones that we had. So our air fuel ratio is still a bit rich at full power, but what I have managed to do is adjust them at part throttle, so we've now got a good spread of fuel all the way across the rev range. I also had to modify the piston dampers because basically snapping the throttle open, we was going so rich that we were almost putting the fire out, so I had to modify those as well as put ATF oil in there just to get them to rise fast enough to lean the fuel out enough to run properly. So yeah, all in all, there was a fair bit of work needed to get this one running right, but the owner is been out for a test drive and he's very happy, so let's go and have a word with him. All right, Kevin, you can see the smile, look. So he's been out in his car after we've done his twins on his innocenti. So what's it like now?
He's definitely smoothed it off a lot more. Before I was getting a lean pull from about 17,000 RPM through to about 3,000, and it just made it uncomfortable to drive around town in that it was jolty. But now that's gone completely, and it's just smooth all the way through. Plus, when you accelerate, it just takes off now. It's really good. Yeah,
excellent.
He's refined it.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's the interesting thing. And we actually spent a good couple of hours just on the carburetors because these ones gave us a little bit of a run around.
Yep.
So we had to finally chase them down. And in the end, I had to end up with custom piston dampers and really thin oil to get the fueling where we needed to be. But it's ended up with something that drives really nice.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, wonderful. So would you recommend this service?
Absolutely, because while you think your car is driving as nice as it can be, there's always those little tweaks which bring it back to just that bit better. So spend the extra money if you've done some tuning and just get it set up properly and be done with it. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you very much for letting me work on such a nice car.
Thank you.
Hopefully you enjoyed that. 5 cars there, twin carbs as well, and also a little bit more evidence of poor quality fuel causing corrosion on needles, etc. So please remember to stabilise your fuel if you're going to keep cars laying around with the modern fuel in it. Anyway, as ever, please like and subscribe, share this, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.